Some people can't mind their own business. And then there's HOA Karen, the type of person who thinks she owns the whole neighborhood. But the day she decided to mess with the wiring on my property, she had no idea she was about to spark her own downfall, literally. It started on a Saturday morning. I was out back fixing a section of my fence when I noticed Karen crouched near the side of my garage. At first I thought she was snooping, as usual. But when I got closer, I realized she had a pair of wire cutters in her hand and was digging into the electrical conduit running into my workshop. "What on earth are you doing?" I demanded. Karen didn't even look ashamed. She smirked and said, "These wires are ugly and they're a safety hazard." The HOA told me I could remove them, except the HOA had no say over my private property, and those wires were powering my tools and security system. I warned her to step away, but she scoffed, tossed the clipped wires aside, and strutted back to her house like she had done me a favor. That night, I went to work. See, Karen had a shiny new ATV that she'd like to parade around the neighborhood, revving it at all hours just to annoy people. Since she had already tampered with my wiring, I decided a little lesson was in order. I carefully reconnected the lines she cut, but this time, I added a harmless but very effective trick. A small, conductive loop that I knew would overload anything hooked up carelessly to my exterior outlets. And wouldn't you know it, Karen had been stealing electricity from that very outlet to charge her a TV. The next afternoon, the neighborhood gathered outside when Karen proudly cranked up her ATV for another joyride. She revved the engine once, twice, then suddenly a loud pop echoed, followed by a burst of smoke. The ATV sputtered, sparks shot out, and before she knew it, flames were licking out from under the seat. Karen shrieked, jumped off, and ran in circles while her prized toy crackled and burned. The fire department arrived within minutes, but by then, ATV was nothing but a charred husk. When the chief asked what happened, I calmly explained that Karen had been tampering with my wiring and must have overloaded her own ride. With half the neighborhood as witnesses, Karen had no defense. She ended up fined for property damage and banned from the HOA board she loved so much. As for me, I just enjoyed the peace and quiet of a neighborhood finally free of her constant revving. Sometimes karma doesn't knock politely. Sometimes it roars to life and goes up in smoke. Asterisk for more interesting and heart-touching stories. Hit the subscribe button now.